Hey everyone, welcome to Wednesday, um, the start of week 2. It's going to take me forever to get used to saying that, and so I apologize now. Um, I felt the need on Sunday to feel like I should start, reminding people to turn work in, and then I remembered it was Tuesday. But alas, we have moved past the first week, and I tell you what, I think the developers of this course really designed it to try to weed everyone out because my goodness, is there a lot of work that you completed. And I should also note that if you did not complete some aspect of week 1's work, that I do accept late work without penalty. It's best to get it done quickly. There's a lot of work in this class. It's a 200 level course and it adds up. So I would spend today and tomorrow getting that done before you move on to the work in week 2. And so the week in work 2, essentially you have 3 major assignments or 3 sort of things that we're going to be working on. The first is this creative play, the drafting journal. So you're going to read a little section, I think it's about 8 pages in the textbook on drafting, and then complete one of the activities in any genre that sort of go along with that reading. This is similar to the work that you've completed 3 times over in the previous week, except it's just one. It's a creative play journal for this week. You do have a discussion for this week that entails some more reading, some reading of some works of creative writing, and a couple things to note here. So you need to read the poem by Samuel Green, which is on 274, and then the short story by Sherwood Anderson, which is on 214, and then you're going to respond to this discussion board. By Saturday is when the initial post is due, and then 2 peer replies by Tuesday. So your initial post should be about 300 words, a little less or about around there. And you're going to specifically think about these 2 questions. You're going to look at how the authors use literary conventions effectively. And you may also have to analyze the theme or other literary elements first and then put them in context, right? You want to use specific examples. If you're going to make a case that, Samuel Green is using a metaphor or an allusion, then you want to quote from the text and demonstrate that as well. And then you're basically responding to your peers in terms of if you agree with their own responses, right? And those are due by next Tuesday. All right, and then kind of the main work, I suppose, of the week is you're going to make your first larger creative work submission. In this case, the genre is poetry. So you're going to choose 2 of the activities listed in the poetry section, so pages 151 to 155, and you're going to try 2 activities you have not tried before. So in other words, they should be new ones. They should be ones that you did not write on in the first the first week of assignments, and you're going to create 2 poems. I can't stress enough, you're writing 2 poems for this submission. All right, you're going to draft and edit two different poems. Now there are 2 places that you need to submit this. All right, the first is you need to submit it here where you would normally submit things by Tuesday. And the other thing that other place you're going to submit your files is to next week's discussion board. The reason being is that all of these major assignments have the element of workshopping available. And so what that means is that you're going to submit your work on the module 3 discussion board, and then hopefully at least a few of your classmates will read your work and comment on it. All right. I, of course, am going to provide lengthy written feedback to these assignments. I won't provide as much detail on the creative journals as I will on these, because these 3 works that we're going to do in poetry, fiction, and nonfiction are kind of the crux of the work. I'll give you feedback on the journals, but it won't be as extensive, right? I'll spend more time with each of these. And so you're going to submit your initial draft of your poetry assignment. Again, 2 different poems in 2 places. Here, where the assignment says to submit it, like you did last week, and then also in next week's discussion workshop, which there's a link here for you to do that as well. I'll say this again next week when I preview week 3, but you're not graded in the discussion workshop for submitting your own work. In the discussion workshop for next week, you're only getting a grade for if you read and comment on 2 of your peers' work. All right, and we'll talk about that next week, but I just want to preview that because that is a common thing that happens in this class where people will just submit their work and they end up with a 0 because they did not actually do the assignment. All right, and believe it or not, that's it for the week, right? I told you, I tried to preview, tried to drag you through last week to tell you that it would be fine if you could just get through last week, because for whatever reason, week 1 is the most front-ended, front-loaded part of the course, and it gets kind of easier from here. As always, so tomorrow on Thursday at noon, I will be hosting just a sit-in. If you click on the link in the syllabus, if you have any questions, I'll be there for a few minutes if no one shows up, but I can stay as long as you want. I have office hours from 12 to 1:30, and I'll be in that Zoom room at 12 and stay as long as need be. So if you have any questions that you would rather talk to me about rather than just emailing me, you can pop in tomorrow at noon. Otherwise, have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk again next Wednesday.